Hello, this is Thomas, K4SWL. If you're new here, I like to do real-time, real-life amateur radio field activation videos. And thank you for coming along. I'd also like to thank my Patreon and Coffee Fund supporters. I appreciate all of your support. It helps keep the channel alive, all my websites alive, and yeah, really appreciate it. Today I'm at the Zebulon Vance birthplace. Haven't been here in maybe a couple months or something. Love this site. Had a little time off this afternoon. It's Thursday afternoon, and decided to come out here and do a little activation because I'm so eager to show you a radio and really excited. It's going to be a special activation for me, to be honest. And I'm going to talk about that here in a second. But first, I'm going to go ahead and get an antenna set up. And I've got to be honest, I debated for the ages what antenna to use, and I decided just to settle on the Chelegans MC750. Now the reason for this is, you might see over here, possibly, first of all, they've been doing some groundwork here, and so grounds work. So people are coming by, they're using their trimmers and things like that. I think they've probably already gotten this area, it looks like, but I didn't want to string a big antenna up here only to find out that they were coming through to do more work. And so I just, yeah, I just decided I wanted something low profile out of the way. And so I thought, well, you know, the picnic shelter is really the only viable place to set up here unless you're doing a mobile activation from your car. So I thought I'll just set up my MC750 out here. But I got to be honest, in my head, I really wanted to use, you know, like a longer wire antenna. But I love the MC750, and hopefully it'll serve me really well today. I needed something that was resonant, that I wouldn't require an antenna tuner. And so I think this will be a good option. I'm going to go ahead and set this up now. Try to get this going. I've got two microphones on right now, mainly because I plan to put, it's a little breezy today. It's a beautiful day. It really feels like fall. And if you know me, I'm a massive fan of fall weather and winter weather as well, actually. At least the winter weather we get here in western North Carolina. And yeah, so it's a wonderful day. It's really bright and sunny, but it's dry. It's not humid like it's been. And it does feel fall-like. I think it's going to get warm again. You know, probably get like hot weather again here before terribly long. But I'm going to enjoy this weather while it lasts. I really will. So I got my Chelegans MC750. I think I'm going to use this on 20 meters. So I'm not going to put a coil on it or anything. Go ahead and plunge this into the ground. The great thing about this is it doesn't really get in the way. Let me see, I think I need to tighten up. Yeah, I do. I loosened this up before. Tighten this up. Plunge it in the ground here. And then we'll go ahead and put on the counterpoises. I don't need that feed line I keep in there this time. I'll just pull out these counterpoises here, unravel them. Well, let's go ahead and plug in the cable. This is some of the high visibility cable from ABR Industries. I've got a link to it in both the video description and also in my field report on QRP.com. And I should say, please, please, please look at the linked field report on QRP.com. I put way more time into those field reports than I do my videos even. I love my field reports. You know, I may have made a really wise decision doing this because I do think they may be bringing some lawn equipment down this way. If they do, that could interrupt the activation a little bit. I may have to stop and move things for them. Always willing to do that. I'm on their property as they're trying to get their jobs done. Okay. All I'm doing off camera here is spreading out these counterpoises. And since the property over here, you can't really see it over here, the property over here is actually not a part of the park, I'm keeping the counterpoise lines off of that adjoining pasture land because we are bumped up right against the boundary of the park here where I've set up. Yeah, hopefully they won't need to hit this. Okay, and the final one. How did I do that? Oh, yeah. I'm gonna leave this little white plastic thing out. It's just one more high visibility thing to remind people that there's something here that's out of the ordinary. There we go. That will do. That will do. Oh, I better put up the telescoping whip here. I'm not going to get very far with this, are we? So what I'm going to do here is actually move it to, I'm going to extend it all the way until I see 20 megahertz, because I think we'll start on 20 meters today. If we need to, I can go down to 40 or 30 or something. That's 18 megahertz. I'm looking at silk screening on the antenna. That is 7 megahertz. 14 is right there. So you can maybe see that there. It's not too easy to see in the video camera, but I got it set right at 14 megahertz. And there we go. There's the antenna. You know, I'll take a picture of it while I'm thinking about it, because I won't think about this later on. So in my field report, I'll be able to show how and where I set up the antenna. There we go. Now, the radio. This is the exciting part for me today. I get this set up. It is a new radio day for Thomas. Okay, let me take off this microphone before I forget and set it over here. Only reason I'm using these today is because of the breeze here. It's probably going to be sounding windy on the microphone otherwise. The radio. This is the Ten-Tec Argonaut 6. And to me, this is one of the, I think, kind of high performance, one of the best high performance QRP radios that you don't see around very often. You really don't see these around very often. I don't think they were made in the quantity of some of the other radios Ten-Tec has made, even their other Argonauts and things from the past. And I've got a little history with this radio. But I only bought this radio very recently, and I'll tell you what the connection is here. But I do think we're going to have some lawn equipment here soon. Ten-Tec, if you're not familiar, was a company based in Sevierville, Tennessee. They had a manufacturing facility in Sevierville, Tennessee up until, I don't know, a few years ago. It may have been 6, 8 years ago when the manufacturing facility shut down, and then Ten-Tec was bought by a couple of different companies in the meantime, and their staff drastically reduced. I think they're still in existence today. Ten-Tec actually was at the 2024 Hamvention. They've been at most of the Hamventions even since Sevierville was shut down. But I don't know how often they're actually producing things. That I have not figured out yet. But the Argonaut 6 was the last in the Argonaut line of QRP transceivers that Ten-Tec made. It was the very final version of the Argonaut. And I am familiar with the radio, even though I haven't touched it in 12 years, because I was a beta tester for the Argonaut and for Ten-Tec, and I absolutely loved this radio in beta. I thought it was an amazing radio, and I enjoyed getting to know it, helping them hone the radio to be what it is today. And I've just been super pleased to be able to find one. Wow, they are bringing in all their lawn equipment here. I'm glad that I put the antenna where I did, because I think this is probably at least one area they don't have to go directly into to mow. It's just, I think I was saying this in the last video I had with Vlado, that there's something about me. If you go on a POTA activation with me, the likelihood that someone's going to mow is super high. The Argonaut 6 is a 160 meter to 10 meter HF transceiver. It is not general coverage, it's ham band only. And spoiler alert, it is missing 2 bands that people complained about a lot during the time that this was introduced, the 60 meter band and the 12 meter band. So it doesn't have those 2 bands, but it does have 160. And I think at one point, Ten-Tec kind of did a little survey among their customers asking them what was more important, 160 meters or 60 and 12 meters. And most of the customers came back saying that 160 was important to them because this would be a radio that they would use in the shack as well as in the field. So they made 160 a priority and cut out 60 and 12 meters. A lot of people complained about that. I was not necessarily one of those people. Yeah, I like 60 and I like 12, but they're not bands I use very often, if I'm being honest. I just don't use them that often. They have come in really handy at times. I've worked some excellent DX on 12 meters, and 60 meters has saved my bacon when you know, it was kind of in between 40 and 80 meters propagation-wise in the past, but I haven't used it in a long time, so they didn't really bother me too much. The radio is designed to be very high performance though, and that is the thing about it. That is the thing about the Ten-Tec Argonaut 6 is it is extremely high performance. I think that this is probably one of the highest performance receivers in a field radio that you'll find, other than maybe the KX3. And I'd say it's in the league with the KX3 and the ICOM IC705. And in fact, if you look at Rob Sherwood's receiver test data table and the way he sorts them, the Argonaut 6 is way up on that list. It's even higher than the Ten-Tec Eagle, which really this radio is based on. The architecture comes from the Ten-Tec Eagle. It's just trimmed down. And it made a very high performance radio. I love the receiver, I love the filtering, I love the audio out of this radio. Otherwise, it's pretty basic. And I would say that probably one of the reasons why the Argonaut 6 wasn't sold in vast numbers is because it came out around the same time that the Elecraft KX3 did, and the KX3 really kind of dominated that market for a little while because it's so feature rich and such a good radio. So it had tough competition right out of the gate. I was a beta tester, and once I finished with months of beta testing the radio, Ten-Tec actually offered their beta testers to purchase their beta unit if they wanted to at a slight discount over like a production unit. And what they offered was I think it was maybe a 10% discount or something. And by the way, when you're a beta tester, you're doing that as a volunteer job. It's just totally volunteer. But they offered a little bit of discount, and you could send the radio in, and they were going to make a few hardware modifications to make it exactly like the production model. But at the time, I had just purchased the KX3. I had also only been in my brand new home that I built for a year. I don't even know if it had been quite a full year yet. And I could not afford to buy this radio then. And so I didn't, and I sent back my beta unit, and in fact, they were willing to let me keep it for a while, but I just didn't want it around tempting me because I really couldn't afford to have this radio then. Since then, in the back of my mind, I've always thought, if I ever find one of these at a ham fest or something for a great deal, then I think I'm going to go for it. And fast forward, now you do not see these come up on the market very often at all. In fact, I've been lightly looking for them for a while, and the only ones I've seen come up really have been pretty high priced. This one showed up on QTH.com classifieds for $440 shipped. And I contacted the seller, asked them a few questions. They were really good. I verified that they were actually a human being and not just some kind of spam, what you got to do with online classifieds. And next thing you know, it's being shipped to me, and I could not be happier with this purchase. I am here to tell you, I haven't been able to take the Argonaut 6 to the field yet. This is my first time in the field, but I've had it now for about a week and getting to know it again. And oh man, this thing is a keeper. It's going to get a name. It is on that level. I love this radio, and spending this past week with it has reminded me why I love it so much. Again, all down to the receiver, the audio, and the filtering. And I'm not one to use filters a whole lot. I tend to kind of run things wide open. But when you need a filter, this filter is insanely good. And this radio has contest chops. You can run it in the toughest contests out there if you want to. It has a good bulletproof front end. So it's a fantastic radio for all of those close-in, adjacent signals and things. It can sort that out. It has a DSP filter that is variable, and I'll try to show it to you maybe a little bit. Now, on the downside, and by the way, I'm going to do a getting to know you video with the Ten-Tec Argonaut 6 at some point, a little further down the road after I spent more time with it. But it has quirks. This radio has some quirks, and Ten-Tec kind of did their own thing with how to deal with having a small front faceplate with a radio that they wanted to put a fair amount of features in. And the way they handled it was having these 4 multifunction buttons here that you switch with this little button, this toggle down at the bottom. It's 3-way toggle. Top, medium, bottom. TMB is what this little switch says. So when you put it in the middle, the middle position, then you get band, preamp, noise reduction mode. When you put it in the top position, you get power, split, AGC, A and B VFOs. And the bottom has its own that's right below there. So that's the philosophy they use behind it. But it's not only that, that's actually pretty easy to memorize. But the tricky part with it is with some of the CW functions and how to change speed, how to change those things. You have to use this middle, the passband or the bandwidth dial, either have it in the 12 o'clock position or you move it all the way down to where it clicks, because this is almost like a volume pot where it clicks. You click it, then it's down here in the CW position where you get on the bottom row CW settings. So it's a little awkward. I'd say that the only thing I don't like about this radio, I can deal with all the ergonomics because most of the important ones are top level. And the radio is designed so that you really don't need to be grabbing a bunch of different settings as you're working. But the speed, changing the key or speed is a little bit of a problem if you're in the middle of the queue, so it's not super handy. If I think about it, I'm going to show you how to do that, but that's the only thing. So let's go ahead and hook this up. I need to get on the air at some point. I could gush about this radio for a while, but suffice it to say, you know, I love it. I love the Ten-Tec Argonaut 6. I want to keep calling it the Omni because I owned an Omni 6 from Ten-Tec, Omni 6 Plus, for many years. So let's look at the back of this radio here. So you have on the back, they actually had like an old style USB port, keyer, accessory, antenna, ground, and DC out. It has a fuse built into it here, a 7.5 amp fuse. They even have a really big jack here, a 1/4-inch jack for headphones. That's one thing that I wish they would have put in like a 1/8 inch size. But Ten-Tec tended to use the bigger, ports on everything. It seems like, they also didn't use a BNC. But back when this radio was produced, BNC was not really convention at the time for field radios. Now, unlike the KX3 or one of those radios, this radio does draw more amperage and receive than, like I said, than a KX3 or a KX2 or something. I think it's around 1/2 amp. And Ten-Tec never made radios, to my knowledge, that were really miserly when it comes to current consumption. And a lot of it was because they had a really strong focus on, whoops, did I just turn off that microphone? I hope not. They have a very strong focus on audio. And audio is such a really big deal to them that, they would not sacrifice the audio quality, because that's usually one of the areas where you can kind of trim down how much amperage, how much current a radio draws, is when you're not worried about that. So they didn't do that though. There we go. We're going to use a TP3 today. Now, so what I'm going to do is turn it on, and it just has a simple on-off button there. And the band button here, if you can see, you just press like that. Oh, then I've got it set. I'm going to have to change the power setting. Let's see, let's move it up to the top, hit power, and move it down to 5 watts. I was testing the power output yesterday or day before. Okay. Oh, it sounds amazing already. Now I want to see what the SWR is, just to double check it. So what you do, and this is a quirk, normally it shows you power output on the S meter, but if you hold it it'll tell you what the SWR is. Am I doing that right? Actually, I'm supposed to do a continuous tone instead of using a keyer. I think I'm remembering that now from my beta testing days. You know, I'm not going to worry about it. I know that this antenna will be in great shape. I've never had it not have a really good SWR, so I'm not going to worry about this. I'm just going to get to work here because I need to get this activation going. Sorry, this is very rambly today. I've got a lot going on. I've got messages popping up that people are sending me, and it's kind of annoying me here in the background. And I'm trying to manage too many things here at once. But I do think, as I look over my shoulder, I think that they're not going to be coming down here to do any landscaping, so that's really good. Okay, so I need to be ready to spot myself here. Let's find a nice, that was actually a quiet spot where I was. Listen to that audio, isn't that amazing? That's a really strong signal there. I can't rewind the video to see where I was. I think I'm hearing something in the noise there. Oh, AF gain control, and then on the outer ring it's RF gain. The middle one is the bandwidth, variable bandwidth. Down to 100 hertz or up to 2.5 kilohertz. And I'm here to tell you that that filtering is amazing when you're in crowded conditions. It really works well. And there's passband here too. You got all that stuff really close by, so. I thought it was a nice touch. I think it was John Henry who probably did this at Ten-Tec, but he put the little transmit red LED at between the two T's of Ten-Tec. This radio has no internal battery, no ATU, and there are no message memories built into it. It's a very simple radio at the end of the day. It's not a full-featured radio. It's very simple. It has some cool features, but they're all about the performance, and they're assuming you're going to use an external keyer, external battery, and external ATU if you need it. We don't need the ATU today because we got the MC750. Okay, let me get this spot going here. I need to actually back out of my POTA page because I've held that up there so long it's probably not going to spot me properly. Let's go in here and say add spot. The frequency is 14059.5. I would apologize for my rambling more, but you know what? If you're here, you're probably used to hearing me ramble. You're along for the ride, and I appreciate that. Okay, cow. See, it's wanting to change my CW to cow. CW, there we go. Sometimes it really wants you to have something in there. So here we go. Click done, spot. And let's look at the time. The time is 4, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's right. So 20 meters, CW, 20 hours. Come on, bands, be good for me today. QSK on these Ten-Tec radios is really amazing as well. I hope that I'm getting a good read on this thing with the magnet on it. I'm a little tempted to move this a bit so it's not getting some kind of like vibrations or anything. I think you're able to hear. Okay, wait. Okay, yeah, I had it right. KD. Listen to that. Listen to that receiver. Oh, it's so amazing. Gosh, I can't believe all this Canadian activity today. This is awesome. Listen to that receiver. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna try something. Let me move it, speed down. That's what it does, okay. Okay, wait. What I did was turn down the speed, but to do that, I was trying to remember where it was. You have to go to the bottom position. The bandwidth has to be in the middle. I can't talk and CW at the same time. Okay, wait. That's K5UNY, not Q. I'm like dyslexic almost today. Texas. I think it was KO. Okay, wait. Oh, da 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 da. Okay, there we go. Listen how that filter works. It's gorgeous. I'm sorry. DTQ. I hope this is coming through on the microphones. It is just one of the best sounding receivers. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. You hear how effectively it cut out everything? All you got to do is just hit this variable filter is right here. This is all you need, right? AF gain, RF gain, bandwidth, passband, and the buttons that are here is really all you're going for most of the time. The only thing is speed. And speed you get to by putting this in the middle and moving it to the bottom switch and hitting user, I think. I think that's how you do it. And it's just amazing how it works otherwise. I do wish it had built-in memory here. There we go. Wow, North Carolina on 20 meters. Okay, wait. Oh my God, that's right. 2 H's. Yeah, I think that's right. I gotcha. That's a tough call sign. That's a very tough call sign to do. The bands are in good shape today. I haven't been able to say that a lot lately. I heard somebody in there earlier. I was listening for them. Trying to take some photos while I can. Oh, SO. Okay, wait. Almost wondering if I was on like a net frequency or something. The Argonaut also has a really nice... Okay, wait. Okay, I can't remember. There we go. Okay. Signals are strong today. We did it together. I feel like maybe that wasn't for me. There may be something going on around here. I'm tempted to move frequencies and go up a little bit, up to 17 meters. Okay. Okay, wait. You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if I'm in like a pileup somewhere that's spread out or something, because I'm getting these random calls. Is it W5? I feel like something's there that I'm not hearing. Maybe somebody's on the frequency and I can't hear them. Let's move around. First of all, let's go see if I can hunt somebody here for a little bit. Let's check and see who's on the bands right now. Okay, let's see. VE3LJW. Did we work them earlier? VE3LJW. Nope. Okay, they're on 62.5. See if we can hear them. We've heard other Ontario stations. Bruce Trail National Recreation Area. I'm hearing something, but they're kind of weak. Yeah. Look at that, yeah. Let's go to 62. There's someone there too. One VE2JCW is on 24,891. I'd have to go really change the antenna to do that. Georgia's going to be probably too close. Will they? Let's see. Because I've been hearing some stations from North Carolina. Ooh, boy, they're weak. Let's move this up to its full 10 watts. And let's see if I hear them come back. Have I heard them again? No sign of them right now. Okay, let's move power back down, because I like it at 5 watts. But you can do a full 10 on this, which is great for CW too, but let's see here. Oh! Are we back? Oh man, it's just, they're on the edge of me being able to hear them. Oh, I'm still on power setting. Why am I still on power setting? I hit the button. There we go. Oh, and then hit the band. Okay, I see what I did. I didn't pull it off that. Let's go back over here to 20 meters. Anybody else? 56.5. Nope, not hearing the other end of that. Somebody on 15 meters. Let's try 57. Oh, that's New Hampshire. And someone's given a 229 from Asheville, North Carolina. So that's how I... This will let them know it's a park to park. The speed, it's funny, the speed on this I feel like is a little, so let's go over to the speed control. I think it's here. I think you put the passband in the middle and then you go down to the bottom and hit user. Is that right? Yes. And then I can change the speed. If I can move it down to 17, and let's see what it is now. So isn't that a weird selection to do that? But that's it. I hit this, go back up to the middle. That's where I like to keep it set. And then you can move this wherever you want to, but okay. Okay, let's see. Should I go up to 17 meters and call CQ? How long have I been going here? I have been going on for about almost an hour. Oh, why not? Let's see. I think I can set the antenna to 17 megahertz or 18 megahertz. Okay, let's see if I can see this here. So I'm gonna push this back in. This is in 14 meters, 7 megahertz. Let's see where the silk screening is. That's 18 megahertz, right there. 18 megahertz. That should be resonant on 17 meters right now. So we'll move up to 17 meters. Maybe call CQ a little bit. Whoops. Okay, let me take a couple photos while I'm thinking about this. Man, I am so pleased. I thank the guy. I actually wrote him and said, thank you so much for selling me this radio because I love it so much. It is definitely a keeper. Okay, let's see. Let's go up to... I can't do this. I'm trying to do something with my left hand on the phone, and I just can't. I can't do this. I wanted to respot myself. Well, first of all, let's see if we... This feels like 20 words a minute instead of 17. It respotted me with a 12 dB. It's not bad. And it's got me at 19 words a minute. So you'll hear me like slow down my spacing instead of my actual keyer speed when it's slower people, because I feel like that's a better way to do it, to be honest. That's the way I like to do it anyway. It's the way I like to receive it myself. But it's also easier than getting into the speed controls. But I was having a hard time doing my H's and 5s when I was slowing down my spacing. You may have seen that. I was struggling with that. The Ten-Tec keyer is so solid and so smooth. And what I'll do is turn up the power. If I can, I don't know how much battery I've got on here. Okay, wait. Good to get you in logs. I'm at 229. I'll take that. Manitoba. Okay. Is that an OH? So, two people are doing it at the same time. Gotcha. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Good to get you in the logs there, buddy. Haven't had you in here in a long time. Nice of him to spot me, OH3RM. Sorry it took me so long to get your call. I was hearing what sounded like a conflicting station with another O call. Of course, that could just be because I've been cutting down on caffeine. Synapses aren't firing. This is like me running QRO. I'm running 10 watts here. I didn't think there'd be anybody there. Oh man, this was so much fun. I know I say that a lot, but I really, really mean it. I just think, oh, hi, how are you doing? Good. I love this radio. Sorry, I'm talking into a video camera over here. This is the reason why you're hearing me talk to myself. Well, hey there. What's your little dog's name?
That's Tucker.
Tucker. I love your name. Yeah. I've got a dog named Hazel. You're a cutie.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, I've been...
TV operator?
Yeah, I'm doing... so this is I do a program called Parks on the Air. And so I come out here and actually make videos. that I post for people. A lot of people use it to practice their Morse code sending and stuff because you can listen to it and it's real Morse code. And so I come out here every so often and set up a little antenna. I've just got a vertical antenna right there. And let's see here. Today I've worked a lot of Canadian stations for some reason. Wow. Texas, Minnesota, Connecticut, Florida, wow. New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Finland, Manitoba, and Washington State. So a little bit all over. And yep, I enjoy doing this. But a lot of you'll sometimes come out here and see amateur radio operators out here doing this.
Yeah, I've seen a guy. Oh, sorry. I've seen a guy up here before.
Okay. So anyway, so back to this. So I took just a little break there to talk to this gentleman that came up. I love this radio. I'm so glad I got it. What it lacks in features, like again, CW message memories would be great. But I knew, I was on the beta testing team, and I knew this was not going to be in this radio. They really were keeping it simple. Their whole philosophy was performance and kind of like simple interface with just the basics of what you need. And they really achieved it. This radio has extraordinary performance. I would pit it against almost anything. I think it's really amazing radio. Ergonomics take a little getting used to. These 4 buttons alone are not hard for the top, medium, bottom, middle, and bottom. I have, when I was doing beta testing, I would find sometimes I'd forget where I had the switch down here, and I would hit, I would hit for the band button to go up a band, and I realized it was the power because of how they did that. But that's fine. You actually get used to it, and what I tend to do is just return it to the middle switch position all the time, because these are the 3 I use the most: the band, preamp, noise reduction. I don't actually use noise reduction too much, and the mode. And that's how I move it around. I do have the microphone with this radio as well, by the way, and I probably will use this in SSB sometime coming up. But it's just mainly getting into the CW menus. They're just a little wonky because you go down here to CW, you switch it down to that, and to that position, and then when you click stuff, it shows you, like, you can change the delay, you can change the side tone, you can make adjustments to it that way. And that's a little wonky when you're in the middle of something, right, but yeah, it's not too bad. The bandwidth control, I think, is one of the most effective I've used. I think Elecrafts are excellent, but I think I even prefer this over my KX3's bandwidth control, maybe, in that it just so effectively feels like you can quickly move it into a position to block out something else. You don't have to fiddle with it at all. It's just right there, and you can do it. And you could tell today, 20 meters was a little crowded, a little noisy. And whenever I just wanted to kind of zero it out on just the signal I had, all I'd have to do is just turn that bandwidth switch, and there you go. That was it. Super easy to do. So I love this. But now it's time to pack up. I'm actually running a little bit behind here at this point. Let me just take a few more photos for QRP.com to go in my field report, and of course take a photo of my logs. That is essential for me to do. It was fun in 17 meters to get Manitoba, Washington State, and Finland all in one go there. A little bit of DX. Okay, so I'm going to turn this guy off. Another thing I like about it is when you turn it on, it does not take long for it to boot up. It's not like some of the other radios, SDR-based radios and things. I think this one is a dual conversion, like Superhet with a DSP filtering. Something like that. I can put those specs in there for you, but the way they blended it, it just takes the advantage of, it's sort of the best of both worlds, I think. It takes advantage of what this radio does so well. So here we go. Oh yeah, you know what I meant to do, and I pulled this out just so I wouldn't forget, sorry. This is what it looks like compared to the K2. Okay, so you can kind of see there the size of it. It's, much smaller. It looks, it's a tabletop radio, but it's much smaller than the Elecraft K2. And I love the K2. I love all these radios. as I think it was Josh said from Hand Radio Crash Course, Josh Nash says, he said one time, I just keep saying, I love all my children. And I do love all my children. The ones I keep, and the Argonaut 6, the K2, both keepers. I will sell these if I'm forced to. They will never be sold or traded out. This is definitely a keeper. One big thing I should say here when I'm talking about the Argonaut 6, because I don't really know the state of Ten-Tec as a company and what parts they have available and all that stuff, you've got to assume that somewhere in this radio there's a little unobtainium. It could be like the little controllers or whatever they're in there, or the chips, those things. It could be hard to find. It could be hard to, I haven't looked to see if, I'm sure the firmware is still around, but some of those things can be kind of difficult to find. So just keep that in mind anytime you get a radio that's been discontinued for a long time. That's one of the risks. But I really feel Ten-Tec made great equipment, so I think this will serve me for many years to come, and I'm not really too worried about it. I do feel, I didn't know at the time, to be honest, I do feel like I got a pretty good deal on this for $440, because, I just haven't seen any on the market in a while to know where the market price is for these. A lot of radios have come out since the Argonaut 6, but I still feel like for $440, this is a really, really, really good bargain for a QRP radio. And as you can see, I just did this 1 hour activation on this 3 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. I think I started out with 13.2 volts. Let me see if I've got my little voltmeter in here in this big box. Yeah, I do. Let's see where it is now. 13.1 volts. So see there, I could operate this for quite a while before this battery would give up. Good. Okay, let's get things packed up now. Yeah, I don't know how much of this I actually need to pack in front of the camera today. I'll put up the antenna because I'm not doing this in my normal box here. I'm using my Husky weather-tight box to hold it at the moment, but I'm going to make something specifically for the Argonaut. Now you may have noticed that the audio has gone all left to right because one of my microphones is still sitting over there on the table. Sorry about that. Here we go. Put that through. This Cheligan's MC750 has been such a great antenna. There we go. Man, this is such pleasant weather. I'm going to put a photo of Tucker the dog in my field report too, I think. I don't think this man will mind. I've seen him here a few other times before. He lives nearby. Let's cut out part of the audio just because he was just talking for a little bit about where he lived and stuff, and I didn't really want that to be in the video. Okay. Put this in the bag. Let's undo this. There we go. I need to tighten this up with my pliers. There we go. And that is all I need of my antenna here. The rest of this just coax. I hope that some of you just, when you're not wanting to see all of this bit of the video, that you just skip straight through it. I do put chapters in my videos to make that a little easier. Okay. let's see, should I do the over-under with this? It's such a short piece of coax. This stuff is amazing, by the way. And the reason I really pulled it out today is in case they were going to come out here to mow, like I said. This would make it really visible on the ground so they didn't run over it in case I wasn't looking or somehow they showed up without me expecting it. Oh, that's the reason why you're not unraveling. Off to the side here, I'm having to untangle things because I had it kind of strain relieved off of the picnic table. Over-under isn't really necessary for this because it's not a very long piece, but it does make it so fast to deploy later. Yeah, go ahead and show you putting all the rest of this mess up right now. Whoops. That's my seat. So I've been using these little Husky boxes. These you can get at Home Depot. They probably have an equivalent in whatever country you're in. And I use this particular one when I'm taking out my larger radios, and I had it set up for camping a couple weeks ago and just left it like this. And in fact, here's some of my mosquito pads for the thermocell. But these are, I find they're really handy, just because they're the right size for most of my radios, so I can stick my K2 in here, and I kind of pad things. I put them in, I make it so that they're not going to bash against anything. Use my other little packs in here that are not filled with anything important at the moment. Put my Argonaut in here on top. As I've mentioned before, I don't consider any of my field radios kind of precious, like they've got to stay, you know, completely scratch-free. I don't worry about that at all. How did I do this before? Maybe I put this behind here. I think that's what I did. Put in my paddle there. I had a couple extra antennas and things. These were things that I had set aside. Sorry, you're probably not seeing all this right now. It's not going to stay this messy because actually I'm going to redo this to fit in a different set of radios. But it works. It's effective. It's really effective, actually. And I'll even stick these in here for right now, I think. The extra pencil in there because that's the one I keep in there. I try to be organized, but right now I'm going to figure out what I'm doing with my Argonaut 6. I'm not sure if I'm going to make a specific case for it, if I'm going to put it in a pack. I've got to figure out how I'm doing that. I just know this. You're going to see it in the field a lot. Because I love taking it to the field. I don't use a lot of my larger radios in the field, mainly because I just tend to go for like my smaller field radios. But at the end of the day, they're, when I'm doing POTA, it does not matter how big the radio is. And to be honest, the Argonaut 6 it only weighs like 3 pounds. It's not very heavy. I would take that on a SOTA activation. Maybe not one where I'm hiking for hours, but I would take it on a SOTA activation. It's a little bulky, but that's about it. It's not super heavy. And certainly would do the job. I tell you what, I felt like this particular activation, like I'm only halfway here. I've got so much on my mind. My phone's been beeping. You can't hear it. Actually, I have it on silent mode, but I've been getting text messages. I've felt so distracted today during this activation. But man, oh man, was it a fun activation anyway. 20 meters was feeling really good. It's like the good old days of 20 meters, and I love that. And I'm happy we got a little bit of action on 17 meters just kind of for fun. I wasn't expecting it to produce much. But more importantly, it's just nice to take the Argonaut 6 out into the field where it really belongs. And you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna see a lot more of it I will do a getting to know you video on it once I go through and just kind of review everything on it and get to know it a little bit better myself. I want to be with it again another month or so. Again, it's been 12 years since I've seriously used this radio, and it's nice to be reunited with it. I've got some other cool radios coming up too soon, so stay tuned to the channel. And again, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you to my Patreon and Coffee Fund supporters. You really do make this possible, because I don't run ads or anything like that to monetize the channel. Really, my monetization plan is just pay for it if you feel like it's worth it. I appreciate that. That works for me. This is more of a labor of love than anything. It's not a job. So that's the way I feel. Anyway, and keep this in mind. The world's better off because you are in it. And let's take care of one another out there. Until next time, 7 twos.